In a dark forest, far from the hustle and bustle of the city, stood an old country house. In this house lived a family, a father, a mother, and their little son, Alexei. The house was surrounded by dense trees, and at night an eerie silence reigned, interrupted only by the howling of the wind and the occasional cries of nocturnal birds. One night, Alexei woke up to a strange noise. It was a dull thud, as if someone was scraping the outside of the wall. The boy's heart beat faster, and he decided to check what was making the noise. Quietly getting out of bed, Alexei approached the window and cautiously looked outside. In the faint moonlight, he saw a silhouette moving between the trees. The figure was huge and emitted strange, animalistic sounds. Alexei immediately realized it was not a person. He froze in fear, but then quickly backed away from the window when the creature turned its head toward him. The monster's eyes glowed bright red, and the boy felt cold sweat cover his forehead. Alexei rushed to his parents' bedroom. He struggled to wake his father and mother, explaining that someone was outside the house. At first, his parents didn't believe him, but seeing the fear in their son's eyes, they decided to check. The father took his old hunting rifle and slowly approached the front door. When they opened the door, a terrifying creature stood before them. It was a monster with long claws, exposed fangs, and eyes glowing in the dark. The creature lunged at the father, and screams echoed through the house. The mother grabbed Alexei and tried to find shelter, but the monster was faster. It broke in and began its relentless attack. In panic, Alexei and his mother ran to the basement and locked the door behind them. The mother tried to calm her son, whispering that everything would be fine, but Alexei knew the monster wouldn't stop. They heard it breaking furniture and tearing through the house. Suddenly, everything went silent. The silence was unbearable. The boy and his mother stood frozen, not knowing what would happen next. Suddenly, the basement door began to creak open slowly. The monster's glowing eyes stared directly at them. In terror, the mother shielded Alexei with her body, hoping to protect him. The monster lunged at them, and the basement was filled with screams and the sounds of a struggle. Alexei felt something heavy fall next to him. His mother stopped whispering reassurances. With tears in his eyes and struggling to breathe, Alexei crawled to the corner of the basement. He heard the monster leaving behind destruction and death. Soon, a grave silence fell. The boy was left alone in the dark, surrounded by the remains of his family. Days and nights blurred into one. Alexei didn't leave the basement, too scared to face the outside world. He was found by the local police after a few days. Weak and emaciated, they took him to a safe place, but the horror of that night remained forever in his eyes. Alexei became the sole survivor, a witness to the nightmare that turned his life into endless terror. And every night, as he fell asleep, he heard that dull thud that once woke him in the old country house.